too seriously. So he has a nice balance. I just adore him. So let me introduce him tonight. He is our speaker, and take it away.
Well, Lynn, that was very nice. And I will say one thing, that when I have gone into these countries, I've had tons of support, not only from the Leadership Council, but from founders. And I want to let you all know, thank you for that. Some of these countries are a little more challenging, but we are doing what we set out to do. We're building in path systems. Tonight, it's a little different. I'll be honest, Lynn and Ron asked me to come on here, and I first told them, are you guys crazy? You want to ruin your show? Because what am I going to talk about? And I was worried about it since last Monday. I know I can talk about Onpassive. So every night I have grown very close to some people in this family, and 4 of them, we stay on the phone from usually 11 o'clock at night till sometimes 4 in the morning, discussing things, how we can help people, how we can make things better. And I kept saying, man, I am so nervous about Friday. I don't know what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say. And it was quiet, and Robin Noble's beautiful voice came out. She goes, Chris, let's say, Chris, just be you. That's what she said. So I thought about that, and I'm thinking, okay, I can just be me. So what I kind of want to do is like a different kind of presentation. I would like to tell you just a little bit about my younger life, and I'm going to somehow turn it into an Onpassive presentation. So I hope you don't get too bored. I hope you might learn something. You might not, but some of the things you can relate to. My name is Chris Johnson. I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. I've been my whole life. There was 3 years of my life where I wasn't so happy-go-lucky. And that's kind of what stopped me for 3 years. I was actually raised with some wonderful grandparents and parents, very hardworking and loving, had their own businesses. So I have a lot of relations with business runnings and stuff like that. I chose not to be in those family businesses. I chose to be an auto worker. Boy, but that was a mistake. But I chose that's what I wanted to do. So during that part, I got hired into which was called Mazda back then in 1987. The starting pay was $9.33 an hour. My dad was extremely mad at me because he did not believe in unions or nothing like that. And then I actually got in there, and I'm thinking, man, do I really want to do this the rest of my life? Well, I stuck with it for 32 years. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you that I never liked it. I just did it. And I'll give you my reasons a little later why. But those 3 years that were my worst years of my life was my divorce. I was married for 13 years, I had 2 beautiful children. And those 3 years, what I did is I wasted, instead of owning up to it, I felt sorry for myself for 3 years. And I basically worked as much as I could, kept to myself, and basically just did whatever I could to keep my mind off what was with my heart. My heart was broken. Everyone's bad, a broken heart. It was devastating to me. I felt like I failed my kids, my family. I was actually the first divorce in the history of my family, which was absolutely a crusher to me. And then one day my buddy at work said, hey, Chris, he goes, I got to ask you something. I said, go ahead. He goes, I want you to go to Las Vegas with me. And I'm like, Las Vegas, really? And for something in my head said, just go. Just go. I had the kids every other weekend and Mondays and Thursdays. And I had some scheduled vacations coming up. I said, I'm going to go. So as I got to Las Vegas, I did the normal. I played slots. I had some rum and cokes. I danced like I never danced before. I found out that life is too short, way too short, to be upset or angry or hurt. And there's a lot more to life. And when I went to Vegas, I was actually a pretty good guy. I did the normal stuff I think guys do when they go to Vegas. And it made me think the whole time that I was partying, playing the slots, dancing on the dance floors, something woke up inside me. And it completely changed me, believe it or not. So when people say what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, well, I brought it home with me. And I completely changed the way I thought, the way I did things, the way I had respect for a lot of people. And when I got home, I had a whole different outlook on life, okay? When I was a younger kid, one of my passions and one of my hobbies was to to rebuild small motors, lawnmowers, snowmobiles, mini bikes. I loved it. I would actually find people that threw their lawnmowers in the garbage. I would bring them home. And if you know anything about motors, you really can't kill a motor. Most people. Lynn?
Sorry, that was me because
Okay.
I thought I saw the word Marty and I thought it was Marty that was unmuted, but I forgot that you're called Marty's little brother.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Yeah.
It threw me off. So please repeat the last sentence.
Marty.
So
All
sorry.
right, I'm going to get you, Marty. But
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
if you know anything about motors, cars or small motors, you really can't kill them. A lot of people don't know that. So as a kid, between the ages of 7 and 10, I would literally go around looking for people's garbage, pulling motors, lawnmowers. I found old snowmobiles in fields that I drug home, and I started playing with those motors. I was completely ingested. Wow, I could take this thing apart and bring it back to life again. And I did that for a lot of my younger life, which taught me a lot of things about motors, and that there's certain things you just can't kill. And the things that I did with motors was unbelievable. I didn't sell anything that I fixed. I fixed it just to hear it run. I really fixed it just to hear it run. And that was, to me, a huge accomplishment. All right. And I'm bouncing all over my life right now. But sooner or later, I realized I had very strong parents. And my father used to tell me that you could do anything that you want. Don't be afraid of anything, and take it head on. So my dad was not afraid of nothing. I think most of our dads were like that in our age. And, you know, he had put me through some tests. One time he threw me and my brother in Lake Huron. He was a big boater. He was in the Navy. So we were always on boats. We were in Lake Huron. It was pretty choppy out. We had a canoe that we were towing behind his boat. He threw me and my brother in the canoe. I think we were maybe 7 or 10, something like that. He gave us each a life jacket and 2 oars, and he pushed us right off. Now, my dad knew I had the fear of seaweed, scared the heck out of me when I was a kid for some reason. Well, he pushed us right toward this big, long seaweed, and we got wedged right in there. All right, I was scared to death. Of course, my brother was calling me a sissy. He was 2 years older. Shut up, let's paddle, just keep paddling. And it took me years to realize that my dad did that to show me that you're going to struggle in life, but sometimes you got to ask for help and work as a team. All right. And sooner or later, as I get going, you're going to understand why I said that. My dad did many things like that to me and my mom to teach me valuable lessons that I couldn't learn in school. I couldn't learn those lessons in school. And as I got older, I started realizing, man, my dad was a pretty smart guy. He was trying to give me the hard knocks when I was a young kid and teaching me how to get out of those hard knocks. But you're going to come across struggles. You're going to come across waiting. You're going to come across, you better be patient. Swimming, pretty much. I was the kid. My dad threw right in the pool at a very young age. And my brother and I both learned how to swim really quick. Sounds like my dad was mean. He was the most loving person in the world, but he was very strong-minded. When my father died over 25 years ago, he literally paid for his entire funeral. And I remember standing on his grave with him. And I said, what'd you do all that for? He said, when my dad died, we had to do that. And it was horrible. I'm not going to do that to my family. So I had a lot of respect for my father, and I miss him dearly, like most people do, parents that pass away. But if he would have seen Onpassive right now, mom and dad own their businesses their whole life, and they did very good with them. But if my dad seen Onpassive, I'll be honest, he'd go crazy for it, because he was in Amway. I was drug around from state to state doing all the big conferences in Amway. So I've seen it all, but I never did any of that. A lot of people say, no, I said, I've never done MLM. I did have a website years ago, realized how tough it was, and just kind of kept myself busy. Let me tell you that the problem was when you get a job, an auto worker job. When you become an auto worker, you know that you're going to make a pretty good pay. You're going to have great insurance. The problem is with a job like that, even though you hate it, it locks you in from really doing what you want to do. And it's hard to explain that. When you get in there, you start seeing good paychecks, and it's what you earn. I was lucky for 32 years to work as much overtime as I could. But in reality, it stopped me from doing what I really wanted to do in life, which there was a lot of things I wanted to do. Coming from a family of business owners, and I was like the oddball out, hitting in a factory. It was a real big challenge. But as I sat there for 32 years, literally some days 16, 18 hours a day, thinking, man, I miss Christmases, I miss birthdays, because I literally worked everything that I could. I let the money kind of control me. I missed time with my kids, my wife at the time, my parents' birthday parties. Well, I got to go to work. I worked the afternoon shift, which was, it's a hard shift to work because you miss a lot of things, So where am I going with all this? Okay, I'm going to try to turn this into an Onpassive presentation somehow. So the things that I learned in life, I can relate to Onpassive about. Okay, when I came into an Onpassive, which was by my buddy Peter Short, I know you all know him. He basically called me, dropped it on my lap, and 15 minutes I signed up, knew nothing about it. I just didn't know about artificial intelligence. All right, plugged in, figured out, wow, this really could be big. I had no idea at the time, really nothing about it, until I actually started watching webinars. I'm going to be honest, the first time I saw Ash, I thought he was a complete maniac and a crazy man. I didn't understand a word he said. And I'm not, a lot of people tell me that they thought the same thing. And as I paid attention the more and more he talked, I really understood him. I understood what he was saying. He was it was kind of like my dad talking to him, because that's how my dad was. My dad said things just how he talked, and I'm thinking, all right, this guy's onto something. This guy's really good. And it was about what Ash did, and this is going to go back to the when I told you about you can't kill a motor. You can rebuild any motor or whatever. And I think this is kind of like what Ash did. Ash seen an old motor sitting out in the field. He took it home. All right. He rebuilt it. He improved it. He made it go faster. He made it go stronger. That's what I think Ash Mafara did. I think that he generally wants to do something so good. He's gonna leave his mark. Most of us actually walk through life and we all say, I want to leave my mark. Okay. Do we actually do it? I don't know. It's a question you have to ask yourself. Well, I could say Key Wendell. I think Key Wendell's left a mark for his wonderful job. Me being an auto worker, where I had a lot of friends and I had a lot of respect, and I gave a lot of respect, but that's not the mark I want to leave. All right. When I came into Onpassive and realized that I finally found something that I can leave a mark in my life for my family, not just memories. When people pass away, we never forget them, we remember them. But I'm talking 300 years down the line. I want people to understand that, hey, Chris Johnson, Lynn, Kevin, Key, Marty, Bill Must left a mark somehow. And I believe Onpassive is going to give us those marks. I believe that Onpassive is going to take us to something that we dreamed about our whole lives. But I also understand, listening to my father, he says it to me every day from up there, Chris, you got to be patient. Stop rushing things. You really got to be patient. Don't rush things. He always told me as a kid, things happen for a reason. Sometimes it takes a little longer than you want, but they do happen for a reason. Accept the good and the bad. Get excited about the good and learn from the bad. I didn't have a lot of failures in my life up until my marriage. Really the first thing I ever failed on, and it tore me apart. But when I got into Onpassive, number one, I've made some phenomenal friends in here, not just from my neighborhood, but from all over the world, which is really, really cool. I see people that are everyday people like myself. All right. Factory workers, there's engineers, we got the doctors, we got carpenters. My buddy Bill Musk, who I could actually call my brother. That's how well I got to know him. One of the things I'll tell you about him, he's a master carpenter. It's something that he loves to do and he enjoys it. The thing to me is when you could find something in your life that you could truly enjoy and make a living from it, that's a job. That's a real job there. Most of us spend most of our lives doing things we don't necessarily like to do. I mean, I think every one of you, there might be one or two of you on here that says, I had a great job. And I have friends that say that to me all the time. They said, I'm not interested, Chris. I love my job. And I don't hear that too often. But I'm betting most people on here could say, I did like my job at first, but I haven't liked it in the last 20 years. So when I got into Onpassive, I finally realized there's something there that I think 100% of people would love to do. It gives you your time back. It allows you to help people, which is my amazing part. It gives you a sense of leadership, recognition. Everyone loves to be recognized. Whether you do or you don't, most people like to just to say, hey, I love bringing people up. I love carrying people, say, man, look what you did. Even if it's the smallest thing. That's what I see in Onpassive. We have some great speakers. You know, I'm not one of those speakers. I'm just a kind of a crazy normal guy. But when you know how we hear Michael, Red, Marty, Marina, Charles, Mike Ellis, when these people speak, they get our attention. And what are they really doing? They're saying, guys, look, they're telling us, look what we got here. Look what this one man offered you to completely change your life. All you basically got to do is have a little patience, believe in it, what it's going to do for you. And like I said, I can guarantee everyone on this panel right now, because you're here, believes in it. We have a lot of naysayers. We have a lot of things out there that aren't so good. Absolutely. We're always gonna. Even after we launch, there's going to be people that are going to complain about something. That's the fact of life. But you hear our top leaders say all the time, enjoy the journey. Redfern, 3 years I've enjoyed this journey. All right. There's a lot to say about someone that could say that when they've never made a dime, but they put their whole heart, they put everything that they got in them into something because they believe in it. That's what my father and mother taught me. When you believe in something that much, you will work your brains off for it. You will do whatever it takes to get what you need. And the thing is here is we don't have to work our brains off for it. You know, right now we're kind of like competitive. We're going to try to get this person. We're like what what's his name in Hawaii just said. I loved hearing that. Hey, Lynn, what do I got to do to get into Hawaii and help build it up? That's the things that excite me. That is what excites me. It's not about necessarily getting your neighbor. If you haven't talked to your neighbor, and by the way, shame on you. So they say no. So what? You don't ever have to talk to him about it again. Probably some of you don't even like your neighbor, and it might keep him away from you anyway. You know, that worked for me one time. My neighbor I didn't care for, he doesn't talk to me at all anymore because I talked to him about Onpassive and he went the other way. It worked. It worked. But you never know who you're going to talk to that is going to be a Michael Williams, a Lynn Nakamoto, a Yolanda, someone that feels that fire underneath them and they just want to go, go, go. They don't want to stop. They believe in it so much that they're willing to talk to anyone, like Julie's doing on the streets. We have meet and greets that are happening all over. Cedric, I know, has got a big one coming up. Judy Miller's got a big one coming up. Pam Turner is meeting the ladies in shops, coffee shops. This is going to get bigger and bigger as we go along here, as we get closer and closer. And a lot of people are calling me and saying, when's he going to talk? And the honest truth is, I know what's coming. To be honest, for me, he doesn't have to talk. I already know it's a done deal. But I do get a lot of people that say, what's going on with this? To be honest, the leadership does not know everything. We only know a little bit. That stuff is we wait for Ash to tell us. And I have the patience to wait for that, you know? And one thing I will say in here is, a lot of you do have the patience. A lot of you might be struggling. And I think that's horrible no matter where you're at. And we just got to hold on, because I can promise you this, when this does happen, you're going to forget about those struggles. You're going to forget about those hard times. You're going to forget about, hey, I couldn't get my kids this for Christmas, because that's all going to change for you. That really is all going to change for you. And I don't think that myself and a whole bunch of other people on this panel in the leadership all over the world who get out and do Zooms, do lives, do posts, they know it's coming. They can feel it. That's why they do it. I think the thing that bothers me most, and I'm not trying to be negative, I'm friends with a lot of people. I've got a lot of people in my Facebook for all over the world. And when I go to their Facebook, I don't see one post about Onpassive. And I'll be honest, that's how I built my team, off Facebook, making stupid posts. And I said mine were stupid. If you remember the beginning, I made cartoon characters, Gilligan's Island, Fred and Barney. I made all kind of funny posts just to try something different. And then something snapped. I think it was Marty says, you got to talk to people about it. I called Pete. I said, I'm going live. What do you mean? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to do it. And boom, believe it or not, I mean, I've outfished my ponds over and over with my lives. I love when I get called in the morning and say, Chris, I signed 2 people up. The other day, a guy called me, Chris, I signed 2 people up. I go, that's great. He goes, you know why? He goes, they watched your crazy live and they wanted to check it out. They called him, because I always say, if someone shares this, please get back with them, ask them about Onpassive. That's happened multiple times in the last few months. Man, that makes me feel good, because that was my whole goal. That's my whole goal. I'm good with what I have, believe it or not. And you can ask Marty. I tell him every day, I'm good, Marty. I'm good. I know the company's going to do the rest for me. So one thing I do tell people is, don't be stressed out. You know, if you can get your 3, that's great. But if you can't, it's okay. All right. Like Ash has said multiple times, continue what you're doing. He never told you to quit a job. All right. He told you to continue what you're doing. Let him do the work. Let him get this together. And when it happens, you're going to be excited. I mean, I've been excited since the day I joined, to be honest with you. And we're coming across those things. We're hitting a few bumps in the road. You know, Ash got sick. We had a new GoFounder site that was completely redone. Why? Because our safety, our security. I think that I've noticed, maybe you haven't, everything Ash Bafara has done for the founders, for this family, he's all about protecting us. You know, recently we just had some things going on in this family, and he was not happy about it. He wanted to warn everybody it's not allowed. He basically was saying that I know of, that I heard in his words, no one's going to steal money from my family. I don't want my family to do something silly. It also says that when people are doing stuff like that, they really don't believe in Onpassive. That's a bad thing, you know, and we'll talk about that later. I really didn't want to talk about that at all, but we're going to come across some roadblocks here and there, just like we all do in lives, like my life, like your lives. The most important thing is that you believe. And I'll go back to my old brother, Marty DeGarmo. It's $97. And yep, to some people, I get it. I don't always like saying it, because $97 is a lot of money to some people, not only in other countries, but America too, man. I get that. So what do we do as founders? And I know a lot of you we gift people. We got that extra funds, we help people out. That is what Ash Mafar is most proud of. Not that we're helping him build and expand this company that he gave us, but we're helping each other out. If you really listen to Ash Mafar's words, that's all he really wants. And he proves us to that every time when he says, I don't need 20,000 houses. I'm going to give $1 million away. What's our goals? What are we going to do? You know, every one of you got some kind of charity out there. Every one of you. And it doesn't matter if you're saving trees, saving lives, helping our servicemen out, helping our elderly out. You guys just got to imagine with every one of you all got a different way of thinking of helping somebody out, what really this is going to do. Onpassive is going to be take the lead to every company in this world just for Oh Bless. When they see the growth of Onpassive, they're all going to say, man, we got to do something different. What are these guys doing? You want to know what's really going to do it? Not that we got these great products with artificial intelligence. Oh Bless. I've told this to Marty, Robin, Julie, Bill all the time. Oh Bless coming out of Onpassive is what's truly going to change, not just help people, but businesses are going to follow suit. Will they have what we have product wise? Heck no, they won't. But man, if I knew, because Ash Mafar and his Oh Bless and Onpassive and these founders, that every business in the world, from the big to the small, decided to do Oh Bless 100%, can you imagine really what this world will be like? So now we got 1 million founders and we're all kicking in $10 for a couple weeks because, these hurricanes come through and tsunamis and we're getting things fixed. People aren't waiting 5 weeks to get food, to get fresh water. But now imagine every company in the world following the lead of Onpassive with Oh Bless. Oh Bless is not only going to get recognized worldwide, but everyone on this panel is going to be recognized for that. Now, it's your choice if you want to be recognized. When I die, the greatest thing that I've accomplished is I got to help somebody. I didn't get to help one person. We help countries. We are going to help countries. That's why we're in every country. Every country is literally going to change. All right. I say 6 months to a year, you're going to start seeing changes. Look, I'm going to use Papua New Guinea. Everyone knows I love Papua New Guinea. 7,000 people and growing. If you've ever had the honor to go on a Papua New Guinea webinar, you've heard their struggles. You've heard about governments coming in and just taking their stuff. All right, that's going to change, folks. That really will change. Papua New Guinea, along with every Vietnam, Colombia, every country that's been controlled, I think, or taken advantage of, people are going to turn that around. And how are they going to do that? They're going to do it through Onpassive, because nobody in this world today, unless they're that evil, is ever going to try to stop Oh Bless. I do truly believe that Oh Bless is the original heart of Onpassive, and it's going to show people Ash Mafar's heart. It's going to teach people that, wow, all the bad stuff we see on the internet about him, well, he should be in jail, what I read. He's still walking around like you and I. But Oh Bless, when they see Oh Bless, when the world hears about Oh Bless, and they will, Ash Mafara is going to be a hero. The founders are going to be heroes, because it's going to be up to us to follow what he really wants us to do. He wants to make us successful. He wants us to build legacies. But in the process, we're going to change the complete world over. And, getting rid of homelessness is going to be a big job. But getting kids fresh water, a small house to live in, that's not a big job. Believe it or not, that's not a big job. That's easy. That is easy. And as people see, not only people, but when businesses see what they're reaching out, Onpassive reached out to the world to do this, they are going to follow suit. All right. You are in not only what's going to be the most amazing company in the world, all right, you're the foundation of it. You guys have kept this going. You've shared it. Some of you struggle sharing it. I don't understand why sometimes, but everyone's different. Listen, don't let your fears your whole life have kept you from maybe falling in love with the woman you loved or the man you loved because you were afraid to go talk to him. Tell me I'm wrong. Your fears have kept you from doing something that someone else did later. Do not let your fears control you. Face them. When I was a huge boater, and believe it or not, I love boating in major storms. My father taught me that. He said, you're going in a storm, you go into it head on. You're going to be scared. You're going to be afraid, but just take it head on. You know, I hate roller coasters. I hate them, but I still go on them just because I want to beat that fear. I still hate them after I ride them, to be honest with you. They scare the heck out of me. Do I want to jump out of a plane? Wanted to my whole life. Will I? I don't know. I think I'll be pretty scared to do that. But a lot of our fears stop us from doing what's right. A lot of our fears stop us from being successful. We're afraid that one person is going to tell us no, it's going to knock you down. Don't let it knock you down. That person just wasn't meant to be a founder. Maybe that person just he doesn't have a vision. Some people are just content getting by. I was never that person. I didn't just want to get by. I wanted to give my kids the life my parents gave me. We watch TV, see these, rich people enjoying great yachts and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I watched as a kid. I was a big dreamer. That's what I want to be. And what did I do? I ended up being an auto worker for 32 years. And spending 32 years working in a factory. And now I got Onpassive. And we're able to change people's lives. Little kids are founders right now. Kids that aren't born are founders right now. We're helping those kids. They're going to be better educated because now they don't have to worry about if their parents can afford to get them to the nice school. Any school is good in my book as long as they're learning something. But any of you that have kids right now, I just put my daughter through college. It's not cheap. Most people work an extra 10 to 15 years so their kids can be put through college. All right? That's what we're going to change. Think about what you've done in your lifetime. I told this to Papua New Guinea a couple weeks ago. Look at your kids. Look at your kid. There was a whole bunch of kids in there. I told them, look at those kids' eyes. Look in your kids' faces and tell them, we're going to change things for the better. I don't want you doing what I had to do. I don't want you to struggle. Man, if people didn't struggle, this world would probably be a lot lighter, a lot looser. There'd be a lot more love and a lot less hate. The problem is we've struggled most of our lives. Whether we had a good job, a bad job, you still struggle because you still got to get up every single morning or night for me and be at that job. This company's giving you an opportunity where you don't have to do that no more. Is it happening as fast as we want it? It's not happening as fast as Ash wants it. Ash wants us to go. You've heard Marty, Red, everyone say it. He wants to go right now, but he does have to make sure it's right. I've explained to you guys about me being in the auto world. I watched cars go out the door that weren't right. But customer demand, we have to get these out. We got to get them in the driveways. Some people 1 day, some people 2 weeks, lights are going off. Things weren't done right. All right, that's what Ash doesn't want to happen. When this business is born, when it comes out, Ash doesn't want lights coming on. He doesn't want phone calls saying, hey, my car's not starting. You look at the history of tech companies, many companies that failed because they rushed it. Look when these iPhones come out. There's 10,000 people standing in line to get that iPhone. Guess what? Onpassive's the new iPhone, folks. Everyone's going to want to get in it, whether you believe it or not. Cheaper, faster, taking basically 20 years of old ideas that Ash studied. He studied it. He wasn't studying how good it was. He was studying what was failing and how can I improve that? Kind of just like rebuilding that old motor. He knew that old motor was there and he had to do something different. He had to do something different and he did it. So don't doubt something. All right, that's this good. In my entire life, I'm 55 years old. Like I said, I spent 32 years working in an auto factory. I've never been so excited in my life about being part of something that's just not big, but it's actually going to help people. I want you to think back in the history of your life. How many companies ever did that? Did Bill Gates get out there and say, hey, we're going to fix homelessness? We don't want kids starving. None of those people did that. The old Zuckerberg there, you know, he stole people's information. One of the things Ash said, that ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. We're not going to make money off people's information. We're not going to make money off crowdfundings. Everything that he's done, in my eyes, is perfect. I've never seen anyone care about people as much as he has. And I hope to God it all wears off in every one of us. It has on me. And I'm going to stop talking because I want some discussion going on here about Onpassive. That's just my little take on it, but please stay positive. And myself, along with anyone in the leadership or founders, we're always there to help you. We're there to help you as much as we can, and just do the best we can, because when it happens, look at it this way. When this launches, guys, you're gonna, the pressure you think you have now, it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be gone. And you are truly gonna be amazed, especially the people that's been in it for 3 years. Man, I commend them. I would have had a heart attack by now, I think, with all the excitement. And then we get a little down, then we get excited again. Luckily, I got in last October. You know, the lucky guy is the last founder. The lucky guy is the last founder who walks into it. Don't know nothing about it, but the next day he's making money. Woo! That's a lucky guy. I hope it's a 5-year-old kid myself, so you don't have to struggle. So that's my little spiel. I hope I didn't bore you too bad. I do love you all. I do care about every one of you. And anytime I can help anyone with anything, I will make you positive if you're negative. You just got to give me a 5-minute phone call. I promise you I'll change it. I guarantee you that I will change you from negative to positive in 5 minutes, because this is just perfect what you're in. Just be patient, folks, because it is happening. What's my famous line? It's coming. When it comes,